Washington Redskins are 4-0 this season. Winning is a tradition for this proud franchise, and they are undefeated this year for many reasons. It's the highest score in the NFL. In 4 games, 2 shutouts. Mitchell has already returned 2 punts for touchdowns. And there's an additional ingredient to this Redskins squad, and Joe Gibbs knows it.
The thing what sets good teams apart is chemistry. Whether we have that or not, we'll have to see. We've had it for 4 weeks. I think it's the ability to lose oneself for the betterment of the team, and we have that going on in our football team right now. A lot of guys playing roles that would rather be starting, but they're not off in the corner moping and upset about it, and we've got a good feeling about ourselves.
Tonight, it's Philadelphia and Washington as the Redskins go for 5 in a row on ABC's Monday Night Football. Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Are you ready for the Eagles and the Redskins in our sure enough marshmallow show? We're gonna make you smile and get rid of your blues. Monday Night Football boogie for you. Are you ready for the football? It's the game of the week that's coming your way. It's Monday Night Football and it's time to play.
ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles versus the Washington Redskins. Brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Engineered like no other car in the world. By Miller Lite. It's it, and that's that. By GTE. At GTE, the power is on. And by HBO. Simply the best.
Washington, D.C., the nation's capital and the familiar site of the Capitol building and the Washington Monument. It's a beautiful autumn evening here in the nation's capital, and RFK Stadium, the home of the Washington Redskins, is packed with this usual colorful sellout crowd. The undefeated Redskins will take on their arch rival in the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles, tonight. Hello again, everyone. I'm Frank Gifford. So happy you're with us. Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf. All of us have been looking forward to this particular game. 2 bitter rivals, and they played some great games over the past. Washington off on a big major roll. They are 4-0. They have been doing it in just about every category. Offensively, they are dominating behind a huge and talented offensive line. They're a little thin on defense. They're playing well there, too, and they have been absolutely great on special teams, and they hope to go 5-0 tonight. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Eagles under first-year coach Richie Kotite lost Randall Cunningham in the very first game of the season against Green Bay. While the critics were writing them off, well, the old pro, Jim McMahon, came off the bench. He beat Green Bay. He has the Eagles at 3-1, and that's their best start since 1981. But Al Michaels, I think maybe it's the legacy of the man that Richie Kotite replaced, Buddy Ryan, that worries the Redskins a little more than their offense. And, of course, I'm talking about one of the great defenses put together.
Still a tremendous defense. So good, in fact, Frank, that this team leads the league in sacks with 19 through their first 4 games. They rank #1 overall, and clearly the Eagles will go as far as their defensive unit takes them. An interesting story surrounding the departure of Buddy Ryan and the hiring of Rich Kotite. Kotite was the offensive coordinator. When Ryan was fired last year, 72 hours after the playoff loss, Kotite figured, well, I'm next. He was ready to call his wife and say, honey, get ready. We're going to be fired as well. Instead, before that day was done, Norman Brayman had hired Rich Kotite to be the head coach. But on opening day, as Frank mentioned, he loses Randall Cunningham of all things. Keith Jackson gets ejected, but they still win the game, and here they are 3-1. But this is a huge game for the Eagles tonight. A win, and they're tied for first in the conference, and in effect, they have the lead because of the head-to-head win. If they lose to Washington, they're 2 games behind. And Dan, as far as the Skins are concerned, well, a big smile across the face all month long of Joe Gibbs. Not much to frown about for Gibbs through September.
The team is playing some fine football, Alan. They're playing consistent football. As far as Joe Gibbs and the Redskins are concerned, what's new? I mean, only Don Shula comes to mind when I think of a coach who week in, week out, year in and year out has his team ready to play each and every week, never getting blown away. And Joe Gibbs is that kind of a coach. And a good example of how consistent this current edition of the Redskin team is. They have scored now in 25 consecutive quarters. That even includes the last 2 regular season games of last year. Now that is getting it done. If they score in the first quarter tonight, they'll tie the NFL record with 26 quarters. Guess what? Their own record back from 1983, a year where they went to the Super Bowl. When you score every quarter, you're talented, you're good, you're mature, and you're well coached. Now the game within the game tonight, well, I'm an old lineman, so you know what I'm looking for. The Redskin offensive line against the great Eagle defensive line, in particular, the 2 tackles, Jacoby and Lachey against Simmons and White. This, folks, is as good as it gets.
And here we go on a spectacular night in our nation's capital. Weather is perfect. RFK, as always, sold out. And Chip Lohmiller, and he's been doing as well individually as the Redskins have been doing collectively. 17 of 30 kickoffs have been touchbacks. So Lohmiller puts it in the air, and this one will be run back. It is taken at the 2-yard line by Rod Harris, and he brings it out to the 19. And from there will the Philadelphia Eagles start things, but there's a flag that comes in at the end of the play, thrown by the umpire. Bob McElwee is our referee, and the call is against Philadelphia, so that's going to back them up to about the 10. Jim McMahon, and the question with him is durability.
Block in the back. Number 55 on the return, half the distance, first down.
Ken Rose flagged for the illegal use of hands. Sherman and Byers start as the running backs. Byers plays all over the place. Barnett and the venerable Roy Green with Keith Jackson, the tight end. And then the offensive line, and on the right side is the rookie from Tennessee, their number 1 choice, Antone Davis. First down, Philadelphia from the 10-yard line. And they begin on the ground with Keith Sherman over the right side for a gain of 5. It'll be 2nd and 5 as we look at the Skins defensively. Mann, Williams, Johnson, and Stokes up front, with Marshall playing very well. Matt Millen, the longtime Raider and 49er, and Andre Collins, with Mayu and Darrell Green, who's among the very best of the corners, and Danny Copeland and Brad Edwards are the safeties. 2nd down and 5. Eagles at their own 15-yard line. That's Byers in the slot to the left. 41 will line up all over the place, and Keith is in motion. McMahon to throw. Checks off to Sherman, who slips a tackle and then takes it out to the 17-yard line. It'll be 3rd and short. Wilbur Marshall makes the tackle.
Right away, you saw what Jim McMahon can do so well. He took a quick read downfield, looking quickly to Barnett. He wasn't there. He knew the coverage right away, and he fired it into the flat.
Rich Kotite, a longtime Jet assistant under Joe Walton, then last year came to Philadelphia and pumped them up offensively. 3rd down, a short 4 from just outside the 16 with McMahon out of the shotgun. And then he steps up because of the crowd noise. Byers in motion. And on 3rd and 4, Byers makes the catch, has the first down, takes it out to the 17, a gain of 11. Monty Coleman makes the hit.
And that is the Eagles' version of running the football. They don't have a ball carrier other than McMahon that averages over 3 yards a carry, and this is their idea of running the football, just throwing the short pass across the middle to Keith Byers. And Frank, I don't know that there's a better back in football today coming out of the backfield than Byers.
No, and he read the read too with Jim McMahon. Wilbur Marshall came on the blitz. He broke whatever pattern he had scheduled off over the middle, and McMahon read it right with him, and they get the first down. And that is, you're exactly right. This is how they're going to run the ball tonight.
1st and 10 at the 27-yard line. Barnett, who starts in motion. McMahon stepping up and takes it out to the 31-yard line, where Wilbur Marshall makes the hit, and a late hit by Andre Collins precipitates the flag, and that'll advance Philadelphia even further. And this one picks up where their last meeting in the regular season last year ended in Philly. That's Byers and Wilbur Marshall having a little settee.
Well, that game in Philadelphia last year was labeled in the press as the body bag game. A game where so many Redskins were hurt. Watch the left of your screen. Andre Collins is coming in right there. Now, he doesn't spear McMahon, and you see him throw his arms up in the air in a hurry. He more lands on him than anything else. Watch it right here. There's 55.
Personal foul.
Boy, I tell you, that's not much.
Roughness. Defense, 15 yards, first down.
I mean, Collins got there late. Of that, there's really no dispute, but he didn't really hit McMahon. He came in and slid in and more landed on him than anything else.
Well, officials aren't automatons. I'm wondering if McElwee isn't trying to send a message early.
I don't think they try to, but they can't avoid it because that was such carnage last November between these two teams. And you can see Reed, he just tries to pull off of that. I don't think, against two other teams, I don't think that would have drawn a flag.
You got to realize what you're dealing. That's the quarterback, and they get an extra protection by the officials.
First down, Eagles at their own 47 on the game's opening drive. McMahon throwing a little too high, in and out of the hands of Roy Green, who was covered by Martin Mayhew.
Well, I'll say he was covered by Mayhew. That was a fine play. Mayhew broke in and really just grabbed Green around the waist and spun him pretty good, and that distracted Green enough that he didn't catch the ball. The other corner, Martin Mayhew.
Very aggressive, Martin Mayhew. You can beat him deep sometimes with speed if you can get by him. He'll play you tough. One of those Plan B players they got from Buffalo in '89. They have several on this defensive unit.
Mayhew got away with that one. He had his arms around Green before the ball got there.
Second and 10, Eagles from the 47. Early first quarter, no score. Play clock is down to 2. On a delay, Heath Sherman takes it into Washington territory. He's tackled by Fred Stokes. Dan mentioning the Eagles run the ball basically by throwing short. As far as their actual running game is concerned, take a look at this. In 1990, they averaged 4.73. A lot of that was Randall Cunningham, whose average on the ground was 8 yards a carry plus. This year, 2.46 is almost obscene. It's not only last in the league, it's last by a mile.
Yeah, keep in mind with that graphic, there are only 28 teams. When you're 28th, you're hurting.
And they are 28th by almost a half yard.
You ain't in front of nobody.
McMahon with the best average, 3.5.
Third and a long 4, and it's dropped at the 40-yard line. It was in the hands of Fred Barnett for the moment, but he got whacked by Darrell Green and Terry Hogue as well, his former teammate.
McMahon did his job, and Barnett just moving into a crowd doesn't handle the football.
Well, Frank,
Green lined up man for man. He'll probably be with Barnett most of the night.
And again, it's just that short possession route. You know, a receiver clears downfield, he breaks inside, and that's what Philadelphia would like to do all night, but you have to catch that ball.
Jeff Beagles to punt, and Brian Mitchell has been sensational running them back this year. Beagles won't give him a chance, however. As he kicks it out of bounds, they will line it up as the official marches outside the 10, all the way up past the 15.
Beagles runs up there and says, "You've gone far enough."
Yeah, that's it.
Representing his own case.
Yeah. He says take a hike, but not literally. At the 17, first down. Mark Rippon has been very consistent and very good through the first 4 games this season. The Skins are 4-0, and he will lead them up. First and 10 at their own 16-yard line. After the Eagles took the opening drive, moved to midfield, and were forced to punt. That's Art Monk setting up on the right side. The Redskins, as always, do a lot of shifting and moving. Orr in motion. Rippon, who loves to roll to the perimeter, under pressure, throws a fluttering pass that's dropped by Gary Clark up at about the 21-yard line. He's covered by one of the best corners in the league, Eric Allen. Now, offensively for the Redskins, Ernest Biner is their running back. He'll be spelled by Gerald Riggs. Sanders, Clark, and Monk, the wideouts, the posse. Middleton is the tight end, or also sees a lot of action. Lachey, McKenzie, Bostic, Schlereth, and Jacoby. Veteran and good.
And big.
Very big. 2nd and 10 from the 16. Monk to the left, and Sanders and Clark to the right. On the ground, it is Biner for a yard, maybe 2. Byron Evans, the middle linebacker, pushing him back along with Seth Joyner. 3rd and long.
Defensively, the Eagles are a little different than they were a year ago under Buddy Ryan. They're not so helter-skelter. They're not gambling like they did quite as much. Bud Carson, the new defensive coordinator. Carson, of course, with the days at the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Steel Curtain. 5 years with which he co-tied the Jets. He still likes to go for the quarterback, still likes to blitz, but not quite with the gambling scheme.
But they're every bit as aggressive. They haven't lost any of that.
3rd and 8. Ricky Irvins, the rookie, is in the backfield. They send him out into the pattern. And Rippin going deep on 3rd and 8. And the catch is made by Gary Clark as Allen fell down. Clark gets a block from Sanders. Inside the 20. Down at the 7. Jenkins finally caught him. 1st and goal.
And it started up front with tremendous pass protection by the Redskin offensive line. Lachey takes Simmons all the way past Rippin. Gary Clark gets a chance. The ball's really actually underthrown. Clark's able to react back to it, and Allen isn't, Frank. It's that simple.
And, of course, Philadelphia had what they wanted. They were trying to get the pass rush. They were using their top cornerbacks, Eric Allen and Ben Smith. They'll use them all night in man-for-man situations. But how many times have you seen Gary Clark come back and help his quarterback? He has such a sense, a feel of the football field. He breaks back inside one of the Pro Bowl cornerbacks, Eric Allen, and gets the completion.
Meanwhile, on 1st and goal, they had a tough time getting the people they wanted in there. The play clock was down to 1, and they're forced to burn a timeout. That was a 3rd and 8 play, good for 75 yards. Longest play for the Redskins this season. They're knocking on the door in a scoreless first quarter. At the 7-yard line, 3 tight ends in the game, including Orr, who lines up in the backfield and goes in motion. Biner to the 2-yard line. Stopped by Evans and Hopkins. 2nd and goal, and Bud Carson, the longtime Jets defensive coordinator and more recently the head coach at Cleveland, now the defensive coordinator for the Eagles, watches his group backed up.
That was just a solid surge by the Redskin offensive line. They took the inside, the 2 tackles for the Eagles, and rolled them back a couple yards, and that allowed Biner the ability to make that cut back to the inside. Jerome Brown, Mike Golick are the 2 defensive tackles for the Eagles, and it's imperative that they hold their ground.
2nd and goal. Riggs is in the backfield. Gerald Riggs has the ball. 3 touchdowns last week, but he is stopped at the 4. Good tackle by Jerome Brown.
That's how you hold your ground.
Oh, I'll tell you, at 295, that's pretty quick, isn't it? Just darted, hit the gap, and was able to make the stop, get Riggs behind the line of scrimmage. Watch 99.
Well, he slants to the outside, and the Skins pull their guard, and they're really asking Jeff Bostic, their center, to come all the way across and block this guy. That will never happen. That was just a good call by the Eagles, and that's a dead play as far as the Redskins are concerned.
3rd and goal from just inside the 4-yard line. That's Monk lined up in the backfield. And Rippin throws, and it is intercepted by Eric Allen. And so Allen, who fell down on the 75-yarder to Clark, atones with an interception in the end zone.
We're trying to get it to Clark one more time, and we're going to see this locked-up match all night long. Allen against Gary Clark.
I want to know how he gets the football because Gary Clark is open. This is a marvelous play by Eric Allen. Look at that.
Oh, playing it so tight as you do down in close, and that's a spectacular play by a great cornerback.
RFK Stadium in Washington. Eagles 3-1. Redskins 4-2. score. 7:35 left, first quarter. Philadelphia with its second possession. They begin at the 20 after the interception by Allen. Movement in the line, and flags are down. Heath Sherman on a play that won't count. Anton Davis, the rookie tackle. Anton Davis, #1 choice from Tennessee.
False start, number 78.
That's him.
Offense, 5 yards, first down.
Let's go back and take another look at that interception if we could. Now right here is Clark, and he's locked up right there with Eric Allen. Now go ahead and roll it a minute, guys, to where Clark makes his break to the inside. Right there, freeze it. Look at it right here, and look how Clark has Allen beaten. If it is a throw that is out in front of Gary Clark at that point, you'd think that's a touchdown, but the ball is a little bit behind, and it's a tremendous break on the ball by Eric Allen that results in that Eagle interception. But I would have to think that a ball thrown a little bit out in front of Clark is a Redskin touchdown.
On 1st and 15, a flag down, a dump off to Sherman, but the flag was thrown by the umpire, and you know what that normally means. Collins and Millen make the hit. So Rich Kotite looking on as his team gets backed up even further.
Holding, number 78. Offense, half the distance, first down.
That's the daily double for Anton Davis.
It's another great matchup. It's Anton Davis right here working against Charles Mann. And it's just a fine upfield surge by Mann, but look how he works back to the inside. And Davis is either overpowered or else caught his foot in his own guard's heels and goes down, but he takes Mann with him.
It's first down and 22 as the penalty is marched off back to the 8. Heath Sherman crosses the 10, and Danny Copeland wrestles him down. It'll be a second down and 19.
Well, you look at this Washington Redskin team, and you have to admire the way they build it. Charlie Casserly, the general manager, working with Joe Gibbs. They've got 3 Plan B starters in their secondary. They got a Plan B middle linebacker in Matt Millen. They got 2 guys in the middle that they traded for, all under Casserly's regime, which started in May of '89. They really turned this team around.
Second and 18, Eagles from the 12. 6:20 to go, opening quarter, no score. McMahon throws it out. It's caught by Barnett, and he takes it out to the 22-yard line. They are still about 8 yards short of the first down with a third down play upcoming.
Those are the hands of a really gifted receiver. Lou Carpenter, who has been working with Fred Barnett when he came up as a rookie a year ago, says he's got the finest hands he has seen in a lot of years. He dropped one a little earlier, but watch him go up. Comes down with the football. Spins out as Philadelphia is being very conservative deep in their own territory. There's Lou Carpenter, former Cleveland Brown great.
3rd and 7, Philadelphia from the 23. Four-man rush and a sack. Charles Mann at the 16. Beats Anton Davis. Right on start for the rookie.
Remember last time how he took Davis to the inside and overpowered him. This time, like all great defensive ends, he comes with a changeup and goes upfield and beats him around the soft corner.
Man having a good year, coming off an off year last year, but there just the sheer speed and the athleticism of former Pro Bowler Charles Mann, who's trying to get back.
Jeff Eagles to kick. Brian Mitchell has run 2 punch back for touchdowns this season. And this one is a 10-yard run back and a flag at the end of the play as he brings it back from the 39 up to the 49-yard line. Mitchell with the 2 run backs for touchdowns, and another one of 70 yards was called back.
Goes all the way back to the late George Allen, the play of the special teams here in RFK Stadium. It was his calling card, and it's a tradition that Joe Gibbs was more than happy to carry on. But I credit George Allen with really starting the tradition of great special teams play with the Redskins.
Illegal block in the back. Number 50 on the return. 10 yards. First down.
And Joe Gibbs talks about Brian Mitchell. He talks about a gift that the return men have, and Brian Mitchell obviously has it. And this is how he does it. He usually takes it right up in the middle, and there is the call against Raven Caldwell. That will back up the Skins.
Gorgeous shot. D.C. last night of September, the Washington Monument in the Capitol. And now inside RFK Stadium, no score. Washington first and 10 at its own 34-yard line. And this drive begins with an Ernest Biner pickup of about 4 to the 38-yard line. And a shot from the Goodyear blimp hovering high above RFK Stadium. You've heard the term, of course, the toughest ticket in town. This is always the toughest ticket in town. And at halftime, we'll have a detailed look at the fanaticism that surrounds the following of this franchise. Second down and 7. Skins from the 38. Here's Biner, and a great tackle made in the backfield by Andre Waters, who comes knifing through from his strong safety position to stop him back at the 36.
Well, that's the kind of play you look for from your strong safety, and what they're doing here is the Eagles are overloading the line of scrimmage. Waters is actually up in a position playing like a linebacker. He's only 3 yards off the ball, reads the crossing action in the middle, and just fills like a linebacker. Right there, Waters doing double duty, a strong safety by trade, but playing linebacker.
Third and 8, Skins from their own 37. 3:50 to go in the quarter, no score. Blitz is picked up, and then it's knocked down. The pass is knocked down near the line of scrimmage, I believe, by Byron Evans, the linebacker.
Yeah, he was actually blocked. He's picked up by Jeff Bostic, the center, and ridden away from the play, but jumped up, timed it well, and blocked the ball. Strong series there for the Eagles defensively.
Kelly Goodburn to punt. Line of scrimmage is the 36. Rod Harris to receive for the Eagles. He sets up at his 27. Decent kick. Fielded at the 18 by Harris. Gets a block. Whoa. And pays the price as he brings it out to the 34, and it's a loose football. Redskins think they have it.
Now they're going to rule it down, but there was a violent collision there, and the ball came loose, and it looked like it came loose before he went down.
Well, if that is the case, they will take a peek at this one.
Well, that's not all that's loose either.
That's Rod Harris, and this is the way you have to return a punt if you're ever going to pop one. You call it reckless abandon, and that's what he does. Hurdles into the air. Now, does he lose it before the knee hits? He's losing it there.
That ball's out.
There's the knee. That ball is out.
That's a fumble. That is a fumble all the way, but keep in mind, this is a situation where the whistle blows. If they ruled it down, even though the ball is out, it really doesn't matter.
And it won't matter because the Eagles take over as Byers takes it up to the 44-yard line on the other end of McMahon pass. A little short of the first down. But again, you know, it's the vagary of this whole system. If the system works perfectly, once the whistle has blown, that's the end of the play, period.
It's the end of the play, whether it's obvious like it is here that it is a fumble. And this is a fumble. But on the field, it was ruled being down, which means the official on site blew the whistle, which means right now, even though the ball is really loose, the play is dead and over.
Second and 1 up at the 44-yard line. 2:48 to go. First quarter, no score. Heath Sherman runs into the entire defensive line and gets smacked back by Andre Collins, the linebacker, and his pals.
That is trying the point of attack and being rejected.
And the point of attack collapsed. The Redskins, I don't know, you study all week, you read formations, you read frequencies, and that's a good example of the reflection of this man. Richie Pettibone has been around here since 1978 and building great defenses. But it was almost as if they looked at formation, and just before the ball was snapped, they just closed down on it.
There's Jumpy Geathers, number 97, the former Saint great who has really found a home here. And Washington, of course, there's the awesome Wilbur Marshall.
Third and a short 4 from the 41. McMahon under pressure, rolling, pointing, and does his best Randall Cunningham imitation and goes out of bounds at about the 41-yard line, but considerably short of the first down.
And again, Charles Mann just came in unheeded and unimpeded whatsoever, and McMahon had to get out of the pocket. He had no choice.
And I think we saw a look there on the sideline of the fiery side of Jim McMahon, who was preparing to yell at his offensive line when they came off the field. Guys, you got to give me a chance.
Fourth down, Eagles to kick. Brian Mitchell back to receive. Mitchell averaging 21.3 per run back on punts. Has to fair catch this one at the 16-yard line. Well, tonight we see the unbeaten Redskins, and next week we see the unbeaten Buffalo Bills with Jim Kelly going into Kansas City. Arrowhead Stadium, it's the first.
Be sure that Arrowhead will rock on next Monday night. They are excited.
Chiefs come in 3-2 after their win yesterday against San Diego.
They prefer somebody else was coming to town other than Buffalo.
A minute and a half to go in a scoreless first quarter. Washington at a 16-yard line. Ripping. Hitting the tight end Terry Orr. First down at the 38. Tackled by Waters. 22-yard gain.
I think you'll see a lot more of this on the part of the Skins. What the Eagles are doing, they're tying up Monk and Clark with their two cornerbacks, Darrell Green and their two cornerbacks, Eric Allen and Ben Smith, and it's going to leave the middle pretty wide open. At least when you get a matchup, it's going to be against either Andre Waters or Wes Hopkins, and they're really not good man for men defensively.
And they started Orr at fullback. That's how he got so open.
Here's Biner swinging to the outside and turns it up and gets to the 43-yard line, tackled by Golick and White. Gain of 5.
They're putting a big burden on those safeties. They're going to have them, as we saw earlier, Andre Waters making the stop inside the line of scrimmage. They're putting a big burden on their safety men to play the run. And it's going to give an opportunity for the H-back to work down the middle. We just saw it a moment ago.
The great one. Reggie White freeing himself from Joe Jacoby, working to the outside. The consummate defensive end.
2nd and 5, Monk in motion. Rippon under pressure. Rippon has the ball dislodged, but it's picked up at the 35-yard line by Terry Orr, who had the presence to save it. Seth Joyner was able to wrest it away, but Washington retains possession as the quarter climaxes.
That's the nature of that defense, though. They had a man wide open. The Redskin did, Gary Clark, but Rippon did not have time to get rid of it as the blitz got to him.
And the streak is over. So Washington still holds the record, but the old Skins of '83. Back we come after this message and a word from our ABC station. Start the second quarter in Washington. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Dierdorf. A scoreless first quarter, and it's 3rd down and 12 for the Redskins. From their own 35-yard line, you saw them working on Jim McMahon on the Eagles sideline as Rippon, pressured again, gets it away, and it is incomplete up at the 43-yard line, intended for Art Monk. And Clyde Simmons forced it that time, and Ryan is warming up, so we'll keep our eye on McMahon. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Federal Express, where shipping worldwide, Federal Express is absolutely positively the best in the business.
You could see McMahon limping on the sidelines there. Something is causing him to be gimpy.
And wincing, too.
Yep.
Ellie Goodburn's kick is a beauty. Can it be down? And yes, it is stopped at the 1-yard line on a great play by Sidney Johnson.
Special teams.
63 yards.
Great effort by Johnson to get down and keep that ball from going into the end zone. And just before it took that last hop, knocks it out of bounds at the 2-yard line.
before he downed the ball at the 1-yard line. And so it's a penalty, and Washington has to kick again. Instead of having Philadelphia taking over at the 1, they will now take over, you would think, with considerably better field position. Hard to be any worse. Here's Kelly Goodburn's kick, and it's a low liner caught by Harris at the 22-yard line. He's up past the 30 and runs into his own man and Raven Caldwell as well.
But a 31-yard break in favor of the Philadelphia Eagles, who it looks like, guys, are going to have a new quarterback. Jim McMahon pulled up lame at the very end of his scramble out of bounds. Remember when he had to run out of bounds on 3rd down? Here it is. Watch him right before he gets to the sidelines. Ooh, right there, you can see the little hitch in his giddy-up. They're calling it a sprained right knee, and Pat Ryan has come in now and will replace Jim McMahon. So already here in week 5, the Eagles are down to quarterback number 3.
Ryan did not play last year. We mentioned at the very top the durability of Jim McMahon in question. Ryan throws. It's a little high, in fact, much too high for Heath Sherman, who can't make the play. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Ryan signed September the 13th, and he was with Richie Kotite with the Jets for many years as a backup to Kenny O'Brien. He knows the offense, and he is the kind of guy you would want to bring as a backup.
Watch Wilbur Marshall here, Frank, try to kung fu Keith Jackson here. At the end of this play, when the ball, after the ball's thrown, he's going to try to kick him. Let's see if we get a look at this thing. Right here. Whoa! he almost took a good lick there at Sherman and got it.
Here's Ryan giving it to Sherman, and coming in is Fred Stokes to break the play up. And it's a loss of 5.
So back to Ryan. He has not had that opportunity to work, and even though he came in on the 13th, most of the snaps were taken by Jim McMahon in preparation. So in theory, he knows what Richie Kotite likes to run offensively, what he does offensively. Zeke Bratkowski has also been brought back by Kotite as a quarterback coach for the Eagles, and he has been working, of course, with Ryan, but he is way behind in terms of absorbing this total offense. He'll have a long night.
3rd and 15 at the 27-yard line. Barnett comes in motion. The former Jet under pressure, sacked at the 11 by Fred Stokes. It's already been a long night for Ryan.
And it's been a long night for Antone Davis, the rookie right tackle. Going against Stokes that time.
The book on Ryan is, though, and Richie Kotite will tell you, he is one tough cookie.
There's Stokes at the bottom. Antone Davis just gives him that corner. That's just poor technique, turning the shoulders.
Yeah, but Dan, that drop by Ryan, about an 8 or 9 yard drop.
Still, you're right. It was a combination of a deep drop and a poor set by Davis.
And a 12-yard sack as Fiegels sends it to Mitchell, who's hit at the 39, but stays on his feet and turns what would have been no run back into a 6-yard run back. And Kenny Jackson was the guy who couldn't make the play initially. A little pushing and a little shoving, but no harm and no foul. And no score with 13-18 to go in the opening half. Michigan, Iowa, Midwest, and out west to see either Cal, UCLA, or Wyoming against Air Force college football Saturday. Washington, 1st down at their own 45, no score, 13-18 to go, 1st half in D.C. Ernest Biner stopped after a gain of 3. Simmons makes the initial hit, and the Eagle defense clearly is going to determine, as we said earlier, how far this team goes. And tonight now in particular, with McMahon gone, these guys have to, well, turn it up a notch. I don't know how you turn it up another notch when you're number 1, but clearly they're going to have to play a terrific game.
You hit it right on the head, Al. They've probably been on the sidelines. There's a veteran bunch of guys that have been together, that front 4, front 5 when you throw in Mike Pitts and Golick, but they are over on the sideline, say we're going to have to give it our very best tonight. We're going to have to hold the scoring down, hope for the best by the offense.
2nd and 7. That's Monk in motion from the 48-yard line. Rippin. Monk makes the catch at the 42. Art Monk picks up a 1st down on the 741st catch of his career. He is something else.
What does he need? 10 more to replace Charlie Joyner, second all time.
You know, I continue to say this is a guy who just doesn't get the acclaim he deserves. It's because he's so quiet. But, you know, maybe in retirement he'll be like Katharine Hepburn, and you don't see her for 20 years, and then she's on everything but the Home Shopping Network.
I'm sure Art Monk has been compared to many things, Val, but I think you've just broken new ground with Katharine Hepburn.
Here is Biner to the 40. Well, the point is he doesn't talk about himself. He doesn't do that many interviews, and he just sort of quietly goes along, and he'll quietly go along all the way to Canton.
Oh, he will go along to Canton. Maybe Katharine Hepburn will be his presenter.
I don't think he's going to go for quite a while either. He's in wonderful shape. He works out year-round. He's in his 12th year, and he'll still run away from a receiver. He's averaging over 18.5 yards. Of course, we're referring to Catherine Monk out there. The Calla Lilies.
If he doesn't get hurt, he will pass Largent probably towards the end of next year and become the NFL's all-time leading receiver.
2nd and 8. Here's Biner to the 32, and it should be enough for a first down. Hopkins upends it.
There's a load of talent, Ernest Biner, and he'll run the football for you. He is devastating as a pass blocker, and that's why he's in there most of the time. They would like to take a good look at Ricky Irvins, the rookie from USC. He's performed well, done everything they wanted, but they know that Ernest Biner against the Eagles is going to pick up the right guy, and he is going to level him when he picks him up. So not only being a great runner and a good receiver, very smart as a pass blocker. And there is Irvins. You'll hear a lot about this youngster before his career is over.
First down Skins at the 31. Biner again. Good blocking. Makes it pay off. Terry Orr leads the way. Close to a first down.
Now, one of the great trades in Redskin history is when they traded Mike Oliphant to the Browns for Ernest Biner. I mean, this guy has just fit a system perfectly. Of course, that's why Joe Gibbs drafted him, but I mean, there is just nothing that Biner can't do. Remember the great days in Cleveland teams with Kevin Mack in their backfield. But first of all, any back would kill to play behind this offensive line. I think Ernest Biner will tell you right away how lucky he is to be a part of this offensive system with the talent around him. Receivers, line, tight ends, quarterback, and coaching.
I think what says so much about him, a year ago in December when the Redskins had to win them all, he had 4 consecutive December 100-yard days, and they went to the playoffs.
It's a first down for the Redskins at the 21-yard line, 10-15. I beg your pardon, second down in inches at the 21-yard line, 10-10 to go in a scoreless opening half. Biner now picks up the first at the 20.
And starting to get a running game going that's averaged 158 yards per game this season. As Joe Gibbs looking on, that's what he likes best. But once you get that running game going, you can start with the play action. You can start working on those corners that are locked up man for man.
26 total yards for Philadelphia. That is meager at this stage of the ball game, but yet somehow it's still scoreless.
First and 10. Biner just to finish up as Ben Smith makes the hit on the Redskins, not tying their own record when they were held scoreless in that first quarter. When Washington set that record, scoring in 26 straight quarters in '83, that streak was ended here against the Eagles. So history repeats. Second down and 9 at the 19-yard line. 9 minutes left in the half. No score.
Double tight ends and an H-back.
Backside screen to Jimmy Johnson, who gets back just about to the line of scrimmage. So after all that, they're right back once they began. It'll be 3rd and roughly 9 with Jerome Brown making the hit.
And a good play by Clyde Simmons. In on the pass rush. He reads the screen. Very smart, very wise. We talked about how often they've worked together. He knew he had help on the inside, saw the screen, got to the outside and turned the receiver Jimmy Johnson back to the inside and Jerome Brown.
Well, what do the Skins come up here now with on 3rd and long? Keeping everybody in tight. They're starting there. I don't know if they'll end up there.
3rd and 9. The play clock is down to 3. Monk been protected well. Wide open is Monk. Touchdown.
Eagles sitting back in a zone, and watch Monk cross underneath. And Frank, a whole lot of people look at him, and I'm not sure who was supposed to take him. Jenkins was one, Evans was another.
A little bit of a pick play, but more than anything, you touched on it earlier, Al and Dan both talked about it, the time that Rippon is getting to throw the football. That takes a long time to throw that pass. He came in motion from one side of the field, came all the way back across, and Rippon just watched him come open. And an easy toss to a wide open Monk, and a blown defense by the Eagles.
Bo Miller's extra point makes it 7-zip.
The merciless Richie Pettibone. Frank, there aren't many defensive coordinators in the league quite as good at sniffing an open wound and taking advantage of it.
2nd and 9 in the double tight end set. And a little flip back to Keith Byers. And he gets 2. Well, we talked about the fact the Eagles are averaging 2.5 yards per carry. Just to put it in perspective, the average gain in the league is almost always around 4, and right now it is 4 yards per carry. And only one team in the last 24 years in the league has averaged under 3. So they come in at 2.46, and they're not moving that up any tonight.
Pat Ryan started only 19 games for the Jets in the years that he was with the Jets. 11 of them, or 12 of them, most of them in relief of an injured Kenny O'Brien.
3rd and 6, and they better call a timeout here because they're going to run out of time, but they get it off with a half-second left on the play clock, and the catch is not made at the 37-yard line. Roy Green had it for a moment, but couldn't hold on.
That was a great throw by Ryan. I mean, a soft pass over the shoulder of Roy Green, who just couldn't pull it in. He had it, and then when he tried to pull it into his body, look how beautifully thrown that pass is. And Green just doesn't pull it in.
Eagles to kick. This is already Philadelphia's 5th punt. Brian Mitchell, averaging 21 yards a run back, takes it at the 50. Set up, gets some blocking, and is run out of bounds at about the 36 by William Thomas.
Oh, do they work on these special teams? You saw Brian Mitchell make a fake to the right. The Eagles coming down on the punt coverage all went with him. He broke it around behind a picket line and gets real good yardage up to about the 36-yard line. Great field position once again for the Skins.
It's an ugly story if you're Philadelphia's offense, and a beautiful story if you're Washington's defense.
The prescription for losing games: 4 of your 5 possessions, 3 downs and a punt.
Washington at the 36-yard line, and Biner knifes his way to the 33, stopped by Golick. It'll be 2nd down and 7 with 5:45 to go in the half, and the Redskins on top 7-0.
And we talked about the Eagles being number 1 on defense. Well, we kind of overlooked Washington. They're number 4, and they've been playing really well defensively. They're a little thin, as we said at the very top of the show, but if they stay healthy, they've got the people in there to put on the field one of the best defenses in the league.
2nd and 7, Sanders in motion. And he sets in the slot. Biner. Ernest gets to the 28, short of the first by a couple, stopped by Waters. It'll be 3rd and 2.
Well, here's the stage of a game and the position of the field where the Redskin fans like to put those pig snouts on and watch this version of the Hogs go to work. And this is where Joe Gibbs would just love to grind it out on him.
300 pounds on either corner. Jacoby on one side, Lachey on the other.
Yeah, and I think the Redskins are lying. They list those two at 6'6" and 6'7". They got to be 6'8" and 6'9".
3rd and 2, and Rippon throws. Sanders makes the catch and knew exactly where he was, and that's enough for a first down.
Oh, and a great delivery by Rippon. Under pressure, Clyde Simmons right in his face and finally nailed him, but he was able to fire that ball off balance and right on a target. Rippon has really become a fine quarterback, and he's developed slowly, but he's doing everything that Joe Gibbs wants. He sees the pressure from Simmons and is still able to get the ball to Sanders.
Be nice if they block Simmons.
Or just say hello to him anyway. He just blew in there.
1st and 10 at the 25, 4:20 to go in the half, 7-0 Skins. Ernest Biner chugs his way down to the 20. Hopkins makes the hit. It'll be 2nd and 5.
Joe Gibbs, we had an exhibition game with him earlier in the year, and we talked about Mark Rippon. He said really this is his year to determine whether he is going to take that next step, whether next step being basically more consistent, but as well being healthy. He's had an injury problem. He was in IR the first 2 years that he came up. He was injured in '88, missed quite a few games, same in '89, and this year he seems to really have arrived.
2nd and 5 at the 20. Fake to Biner. That buys time. Rippon going deep for Sanders, but too deep. He was covered by Eric Allen. Well covered by Allen.
Eric Allen having a great ball game so far. Remember, he thwarted the first Redskins scoring opportunity by intercepting the ball down in the end zone, and this time he's not going to be a member of the secondary that makes a mistake. He's locked up one-on-one with Sanders. Everybody sucked up underneath. He's got no help whatsoever, and he's all over.
You know, when you're a great cornerback, it happens to a lot of you. See Mark Collins getting beat all the time with the Giants. Well, that's because you're man for man all the time, and you're trying to get your coverage somewhere else. If you're talented, they put your talent on the other team's talent, and they try to get double coverage or zone coverage on the other side.
3rd and 5 at the 20. Very deep drop, and then the pass is incomplete. It may have been deflected.
Ooh, and Rippon might be hurt, Al.
Seth Joyner and Clyde Simmons converged on him. And a lot of hearts just stopped. But the breathing is a little easier now as Rippon gets up and comes off.
Oh, they don't want to breathe too. Don't breathe easily too quickly, because that looked like it might be a shoulder.
Well, this was steel on steel. Clyde Simmons on Jim Lachey. I mean, two of the very best at their respective position, and it's just an upfield blow rush this time by Simmons. He gets around the corner. Rippon set up very deep, and he gets a hit on him, and we'll try to find out what's wrong with it.
37-yard field goal for Chip Lohmiller, who's having a sensational year. And for him, that's a little more than an extra point the way he's been going this year. Remember that performance in the Monday night game 3 weeks ago against Dallas? That was the night of nights for a kicker.
I asked Chip before the game tonight, I said, what's the natural grass mean to you? He said it probably cost me about 5 yards in not being able to plant the way I can on artificial turf. So I said, what's it mean you're good for here? He said, 52, 53, but I was hitting him 57 and 58 during warm-ups.
That's a pretty good year.
A couple of 50-yarders that night in Dallas. Was perfect on the night. A couple over 40.
You combine what you're looking at there with what he's done in terms of kicking off, whereas we showed you at the beginning of the game coming in tonight, 17 of his 30 kickoffs had been touchbacks. He can make his reservations for Honolulu in February.
There's the offensive line coach going over the blocking system. And you're right, Jim. That's where our problem's coming, right off the corner. And a very concerned Mark Rippon. We'd like to see the line get it right. It's his health that's at stake.
It's good to see that no one's working with Mark Rippon, though. Ordinarily, if there was some concern, there'd be a trainer hovering nearby and an orthopedic man, particularly if you're a quarterback. They draw a medical crowd.
Lohmiller's kick is taken at the 6 after some confusion by Harris. He's back to the 16. So it's 10-0 with 3:18 remaining. Stephen Hobbs makes the tackle, and again McMahon is out, but information from the Philadelphia locker room is similar to what we used to get out of East Germany before the collapse of the wall. They're saying nothing, so we don't know whether he comes back or not. Sprained knee, and Ryan is in again.
It's always been the question about McMahon. There's never been a season he started every game. Most he started with, I think, 13 back in 1983. Most he played in that same year was 14 games. So, I mean, the durability has always been a concern. It was a big concern of Mike Ditka's, and I think part of the reasons that they let him go on to San Diego.
First and 10 at the 16-yard line. Ryan throws and behind Barnett, who is covered by Green.
I'm saying that about McMahon. I'm not demeaning his talent whatsoever. He's just a competitor. I mean, he would try to make something out of nothing when he was with the Bears, and he was doing the same thing when he pulled up lame here tonight. But at 6'1", 195 pounds, you hurl that body around there against 250 and 280 pounds, something's going to give. Unfortunately, just a misstep tonight, and the knee went out.
Second and 10, Eagles from the 16. Here's a draw to Byers, and that's a huge gain for any Philadelphia running back in terms of what has been going on this season. They were averaging 2 yards a carry tonight until Byers just picks up close to 8.
And I didn't look. They were 26th in the league, and we're talking about how poorly they've been running the ball. I didn't look to see it was 27-28. And I know they're hoping we don't bring it up.
There it is tonight, including that last 8-yard run, 2.7 yards per carry. Again, the league average is 4. And their passing game hasn't been any better, as their offense has produced just 1.9. And on 3rd and 2, they have to burn a timeout here because it's a big play coming up, and Ryan wants to make sure with 2:43 remaining in the opening half.
So what happens when you haven't had the work, you haven't had the repetitions in practice, even though you're aware of your offensive coordinator, which Richie Kotite really is. You were with him for several years with the Jets. You just got to make sure you get it right.
We're not dealing in points here for the Philadelphia Eagles. A first down here, just picking up 2 yards here is critical, because that would really limit how much time the Washington Redskins would have to deal with the clock and score again if they got the opportunity. And there's plenty of time that if the Redskins got the ball back, I fear for Philadelphia's sake that they would score again. So this first down would be extremely nice for Philadelphia.
3rd down and 2 at the 24. Ryan throws it out to Barnett, and they get it as Darrell Green makes the tackle, and Barnett strives for that extra yard or so and actually had the ball held out. I mean, that was a dangerous move by Barnett.
Again, we talked earlier about the coverage that Eric Allen had to do, always man-to-man. Well, Darrell Green gets it for Washington all the time. Always on man-for-man. You rely on your best talent, and he is the best for the Redskins man-to-man. And here, Barnett just pushes Darrell Green off. Green tries to get back into it.
You think
there's the stretch you talked about, Al.
You think you're looking here at a guy that wants to win? I mean, look at Barnett. Just struggled for a yard or so. Great effort.
The catch is made by Green, and that'll take us to the 2-minute warning. Gouveia makes the tackle, and the 2-minute warning comes with 1:56 on the clock. Washington 10, Philadelphia nothing. Well, Pat Ryan's in the game, Jim McMahon's in the clubhouse, and Brad Gable is how it's pronounced. A rookie free agent who played at Baylor is the backup quarterback right now. Here's the injury to McMahon, and the report now from the Eagles is that he will probably be out there saying a while. It looks as though he has sprained a ligament. They are ruling out cartilage damage. He'll have an MRI tomorrow. They'll have a better idea how much time he'll miss, but he is clearly done for the night on that play. Play resumes, 2nd down and 7. Ryan going deep, and the catch is made at the 38 by Maurice Johnson, who does not make it. It originally looked as if he did, but Maurice Johnson, who was just activated for the game, cannot hold on. 3rd down.
Again, a pretty good throw by Pat Ryan. This is between 2 defenders. It has to be a timing throw.
Yeah, if he catches, though, this is highlight stuff. A little bit behind him. He almost does hold on to it,
sure
but he doesn't control it.
He sure does. That was almost a great catch.
Free agent out of Temple a year ago. Played all the preseason games while Pete Jackson held out. They let him go, and they let him go again this year, and they just activated him because of the injury to Mickey Shula.
Now the officials stopped the clock.
They're going to take a look at it. Anytime the umpire asks for a stoppage, the replay official tonight is Norm Kragseth. And he will determine if it's a catch or no catch. Richie Kotite, 48 years old, longtime assistant coach, Cleveland and the Jets, and then went to Philadelphia.
The ball was ruled to hit the ground, incomplete.
Okay.
Replay is reviewing the play.
You know, as you look at Gibbs, we saw Kotite taking over for Ryan. We asked Richie last night, what's the first thing Buddy Ryan said to you when he got fired and you got hired? And Ryan said, I'm leaving you with a hell of a team.
After further review, the play stands as called. Incomplete.
Here they are in the 5th game, and 2 quarterbacks are already down. Randall Cunningham and now Jim McMahon.
3rd down and 7 at the 35-yard line. 10-0 Skins. 1:50 to go in the half. Movement on the left side. That's Ron Heller. That'll cost them 5. It'll make it
False
3rd.
start. Number 73, offense.
And
5 yards, 3rd down.
Problem has been over the right side with Antone Davis. Now Ron Heller pulls up on the left side. He's in there because of an injury earlier to Cecil Gray, who had been starting there. So the Eagles are hurting from the injuries.
On 3rd and 12, Ryan throws into a lot of traffic. It's deflected, intercepted by Green. And Darrell Green runs it back to the 29-yard line. Off Roy Green's hands and into Darrell Green's hands.
And again, Pat Ryan was under heavy pressure. Under heavy pressure, Fred Stokes got around Heller. But then the big play downfield. First, let's look at Stokes. Heller's late coming off the ball. Stokes gets around the corner, hits Ryan just as he's throwing the ball, and a little bit late, and then Frank then this downfield.
And Ryan knows he's going to get hit. He throws it right into the coverage. You can see 3 Redskins just deflected. And Darrell Green, as he usually is around the football. 3rd interception of the year for the all-pro Darrell Green.
Almost looked like one of the Redskins might have grazed that ball.
1st and 10 from the 28. That is a 16-yard drop and a flag and an interception by Byron Evans. And Byron Evans loses the ball out of bounds at the 27-yard line. But there's a flag.
Well, the flag's going to be for holding at the line of scrimmage. I'm pretty confident they got Jim Lachey for holding at the line of scrimmage.
Holding, offensive left tackle.
Yeah.
That penalty is declined. 1st down.
Yeah, we're dealing with a major horse tackle out here. I mean, he puts a collar job on Clyde Simmons.
It was fumbled. Belongs to the intercepting team. 1st down.
But I want to show you something amazing when we look at this. Joe Jacoby, at 320 pounds, runs down Byron Evans. Now watch this holding. If you ever want to hold somebody, here's how you do it. Watch this. Yeah. That's how you bring a guy to the ground. But watch Joe Jacoby chase down Byron Evans.
Look at the interception. That's not an interception.
An interception was ruled on the field. Replay is reviewing the play.
Forget it. Forget it.
That was a short hopper.
Yeah, but Jacoby actually chases down it. Look at that. I mean, this guy is 6'8", 325 pounds, and he chases down a middle linebacker. But, guys, they got to bring that back.
I know why Evans gave up that football.
Whoa.
I don't have it, Joe.
It looked to me like when he had the ball touched the ground.
Well, the Eagles want to come up to the line of scrimmage, but they are reviewing it.
I think Mr. Rippon will be a happy man.
Norm Kragseth.
It does appear as though it was short hopped. I don't know. Did
Very
it
close.
It's close. Or it's very close. They may not be able to turn this over.
Again, we go back to the essence of this rule. It has to be
conclusive,
indisputably determined now to overrule what was called on the field. On the field, it's called an interception.
That did look like he caught the ball, had the ball, and then it touched the ground.
It was a great play by Byron Evans. However, they ruled this from the booth. And another great play by that guy, Joe Jacoby. I can't believe he ran that fast.
I wonder what kind of energy and calorie burning it would take to move 300 pounds that far that fast.
Well, I know one thing. You could run a locomotive from New York to Chicago on about the same amount of energy.
Well, this is a huge call here, because if it's ruled no interception, Washington has a chance to just blow it flat open.
Well, they'll enforce the holding penalty against Lachey.
But they'll still have the football.
They'll still have the football.
And 1:27 to go.
But they'll enforce the holding.
And if it's a Philadelphia ball, it's their chance to do something before the half, down by 10. Here it is again.
I think the question is not whether he caught the ball, but did he catch it before it hit the ground? Did he have control of it?
I think the ball was on the ground. I think they got to overturn it. But I see it one way, you see it another way. I mean, you know, that's the thing about replay. If I'm in the booth, I probably overturn it. Frank, if you're in the booth, maybe you don't.
Further review, we have a reversal.
Yeah.
They're going to bring it back.
We have a holding penalty to enforce at the previous spot.
Washington ball with 1:27 and 2 timeouts remaining.
That's a shame for Byron Evans, because that was just a superb play on his part of catching that football. Byron, I feel for you. That's as good an interception as anybody will make in this league.
Byron Evans, one of the Eagle players that Bud Carson said, I had no idea how good he really was.
Penalty against the left tackle, number 79.
That was a fine play, but you could, you know, at least from my vantage point, I thought I could see the nose of that ball disappear into the grass.
Yep.
Holding, number 79 offense, 10 yards, first down.
Poor Jim Lachey. He's been singled out now about 9 different times on this one penalty. Bob McElwee's making it tough on him.
Well, the holding penalty for the moment has taken them, well, you want to say out of field goal range, but with Lohmiller, field goal range may be Bethesda, Maryland. It is 1st and 20 at the 38-yard line. And that is intercepted again, this time by Seth Joyner, as Gary Clark couldn't hold it.
That one looked good.
And the Eagles feel justice is served in D.C.
And that one looked good.
That's Bud Carson, and not only did he say that about Byron Evans having no idea how good he was, he also said that about this man, Seth Joyner. He's the big play man for the Eagles and has been for several years now. This is a deflection off the receiver.
Look at that. I mean, we have just seen 2 wonderful examples of eye-hand coordination by these Eagle linebackers. First by Evans and now by Joyner. Again, he just grabs the thing out of the air by his fingertips. That was, I mean, good football here by the Eagles.
1st and 10, Philadelphia from the 33. The Eagles down by 10. Pass over the middle, and that's the first catch of the night and only the 9th of the season for Keith Jackson. Stopped by Wilbur Marshall.
It's good for about, what, 2 yards?
Yep. Washington will give them all the 2-yard gains they want. 2 timeouts left for the Eagles. 2nd and 8. Pat Ryan, and this one is, luckily for the Eagles, not intercepted. Heath Sherman, it went up in the air. Charles Mann put the pressure on Ryan, and the Eagles are lucky that there was no Redskin in the vicinity of where that one came to earth.
Right now, Richie Kotite is trying to figure out a play to call, but at the same time, adding a protection to it to help out Anton Davis, their right tackle.
I'll tell you, he's being handed a clinic by Charles Mann on defensive end pass rush.
He's going to be a great one in this league, but you're right, it's clinic time, Frank. Kotite's got to find some way to help him out.
3rd and 8 out of the gun. Inside handoff to Sherman. He has to get to the 43 for a first down, and his forward progress is a little short of that spot.
Ooh, somebody's hurt back upfield.
For the Redskins, that is Stokes.
That's Fred Stokes.
And they already have Marcus Cook injured, so they will be really hurting. at right end. 38 seconds remaining in the half. To work on Fred Stokes, who was hurt on that last play. When play resumes, it is 4th down for the Eagles, who have sent in the punting unit.
Marcus Cook, of course, is limited to emergency play tonight, the starting defensive end, and we asked specifically of Joe Gibbs what would happen if somebody went down, and he said we'll probably use Geathers, Jumpy Geathers, out at defensive end.
They did not want to play Cook tonight. This is a turn of events that the Redskins are not looking forward to. I'm not so sure they were looking at the legs of Fred Stokes if they weren't looking at his face, that maybe he got poked or something happened. Fortunately for the Redskins, he appears to be better off than we first anticipated when he was down.
The Redskins don't necessarily believe the Eagles are going to kick, and they send Darrell Green back to receive the punt. Normally it would be Brian Mitchell, but they have a pretty regular defensive formation here on 4th and 1, just in case. But the Eagles does kick it. Green calls for the fair catch and then lets it go, and it's a touchback with 29 seconds and now one more tick, 28 remaining. 28 seconds left. Redskins will take it at the 20. And a reminder at halftime, Redskins football. They sell out week after week, year after year after year. That's our halftime feature tonight on the Toyota Halftime Report.
And then I tell my friends, I often have people ask me if I can get them some tickets here at RFK Stadium for a Redskins game, and I'm probably like the rest of you, no chance. I don't even bother. And I know the owner. I don't have the right title to get in that box.
Frank,
it's a good look at Jack Kent Cook and how he entertains here. There he is.
Frank, KC. You know all the owners.
Yeah, well, I've been around a lot.
You have.
Jack saying, looky here.
I know all the equipment managers.
Rippon doesn't kneel down. Well, that man who has owned some pretty good sports franchises in his day. The Lakers, the Los Angeles Kings, helped build the Forum in Inglewood. Longtime owner now of the Skins.
He owns Chrysler.
The Chrysler building.
The
Chrysler building. Yeah.
It's getting old anyway, that old building.
Halftime, RFK, 10-0 Redskins. Will return after this message from the National Football League and a word from our ABC stations.
Is a short one, knocked down at the 13 and then recovered at the 20. It almost looks like a volleyball spike.
But the Redskins have it at the 20-yard line, and we can tell you that ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Bud Dry. Dry brewed so it drinks light, it satisfies completely. And by Buick and your local Buick dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. John Brandis recovered that fumble to retain possession for Washington at the 20-yard line. Start the third quarter, 10-0 Redskins. Ernest Biner does a little tango out to the 23 as Seth Joyner is there to make the hit. 2nd and 7.
Seth showing that he can do it all. I mean, this really is, I think, a great half of football played by Joyner and Byron Evans. I mean, the interception by Joyner was extraordinary. The almost interception by Evans was equally as good. And as I mentioned at halftime, somebody from Philadelphia defensively is going to have to make a big play if the Eagles are to have a chance to win this game.
2nd and 7 from the 23. Rippon going deep for Clark. Incomplete. The crowd thinks he was held up by Ben Smith. So does Clark, but to no avail.
Ever so slightly. Ben Smith, the other cornerback on the Eagles team, and a good one, a first-round draft pick a year ago, and they tried him as safety, moved him to corner, and he does a very professional job. He gets his one shot that he's allowed, and he kind of eases into him, just touches him a little, and the ball is overthrown. But he is being asked, along with Eric Allen, the cornerbacks, to cover individually tonight the likes of Gary Clark and Ricky Sanders.
3rd and 7 from the 23. Opening minute, third quarter, 10-0 Washington. Rypien loses the football, and a huge play for the Eagles. Wes Hopkins has it at the 10-yard line.
Is that what you had in mind, Dan?
Yep. That's what I was talking about, and Joe Gibbs has got to be in a state of disbelief, but somebody from the Eagles had to come up with the play. Unfortunately, it was really Mark Rypien that came up with the play.
He just dropped it. Trying to move into a little roll, a little setup over in the left side. He might have got stepped on as he came out of the pocket. And certainly out of control.
Whoa. And Wes Hopkins just alertly scoops up the ball. A relatively easy play for Hopkins. Oh, he just caught his left foot on the back of his right calf. And wow.
Hard to coach that.
Well, the Eagles must capitalize here.
It is first and goal because the nose of the ball is on the 10-yard line.
And that's a bad break. That is a bad break.
They cannot get a first down without the touchdown. They have to get it in.
And they're not going to get it in running. I think they probably know that. Richie Kotite must know that.
Heath Sherman, 1.5 yards. Meanwhile, how tough is Washington to score on here this season? Impossible. 2.5 games. They've pitched 2 shutouts in this stadium already. 89-0 Skins in the 2.5 games at RFK.
Yeah, but the key here, it's only 10-0 in this game.
Second and goal at the 9.
They're using Keith Jackson in kind of a wing position. That's 88, Keith Jackson. Dangerous receiver.
Ryan has time, then throws, and it is intercepted in the end zone by Green.
Great positioning by Darrell Green. Second of the night. One was a deflection. This was just all-pro coverage.
Yeah, well, when there's all-pro coverage, you don't throw the ball. And you're right, Frank. It was all-pro coverage, and I don't know what Ryan could have been looking at to throw the football. I mean, Green has this thing snuffed. I mean, he's right there in front of Jackson. Jackson even tries to undress Darrell Green, and still Pat Ryan decides to deliver the football. That's just being rusty. That's just not playing. And a wondrous opportunity for Philadelphia evaporates.
First down at the 20 for Washington. 13-10 to go. Third period. Biner for 1. Stopped by a trio of Eagles, including Byron Evans. It'll be second down and 9, and the Redskins just refuse to yield a point on this hallowed ground in 1991.
Mark Rypien is living somewhat of a charmed life. Throws an interception to Evans. It gets overturned by replay. Now, granted, he ended up throwing another one to Joyner, but there he fumbles the ball deep in his own territory, and it doesn't cost his team any points.
Second and 9 at the 21-yard line. Blitz. They pick up the blitz, and the catch is made by Sanders, and he has a first down at the 34-yard line. Eric Allen with the tackle.
All right, let's go back to that interception again that Pat Ryan threw, trying to get it to Jackson, covered by Darrell Green. He had another open receiver. Now there's Keith Byers releasing out of the backfield. Look at him up in the upper right-hand corner saying, give me the ball.
Did you see Ryan, though? Dan, he had his eyes on one receiver all the way, and that was Barnett.
Oh, Keith Byers just can't believe that he didn't get the football. How frustrating to be that open and not get the ball.
First down from the 34. Ernest Biner. Out to the 38. That's a pickup of 4. It'll be second and 6. Clyde Simmons makes the hit.
DG. Darrell Green, one of the great corners to ever play in the National Football League. Certainly one of the fastest men to ever play in the National Football League, Frank. And when you're judging the quality of a human being, it's hard to surpass the kind of guy that Darrell Green is, too.
It matches his quality off the field, matches his quality on. Very active in so many community affairs in Washington, D.C.
Second and 6. Here's Biner again. Up to the 39-yard line. Ben Smith makes the tackle. It's going to be 3rd and 5. The Goodyear blip Spirit of Akron, based in Pompano Beach, Florida, and looking down into RFK Stadium on a sparkling night in our nation's capital.
Oh, what a night to soar around up there. It's been just absolutely beautiful here for the past few days. Beautiful city.
3rd and 5, Redskins from the 39, 10:45 to play in the 3rd. 10-0 Washington. Catch is made, and then Monk can't make the first down on a great play by Izell Jenkins. Jenkins knew exactly how far Monk had to go and made sure he didn't get that extra 36 inches.
And quite frankly, that's a play that Art Monk, more often than not, whips a cornerback and goes ahead and gets a first down, because Monk's a big receiver at 6'3", 210. Jenkins is even going parallel. Keep in mind, he's not driving upfield and able to put a lot of force on Art Monk. Boy, there's a nice play by Izell Jenkins.
It gets Philadelphia the ball back because Goodburn will now kick. And there's a flag down, movement in the line, and Washington thinks Philadelphia moved.
Well, Philadelphia came across, but they're going to rule contact. You can come across, but if you get back, they're going to say that.
Encroachment, 90 defense.
Well, also keep in mind this year they changed the rule that if you come across, and even if there's not contact, they can go ahead and drop the flag. And with 4th and inches, first down for the Washington Redskins.
Mike Golick coming across. Washington retains possession at the 48-yard line. 1st and 10.
The irony of that, Mike Golick is not in on even the punt rush. He's in there to contain a man from going downfield.
Slices his way across the 50 down to the 47. Golick and White in on the hit as the Redskins move into Eagle territory.
And Golick is like a lot of Eagles tonight. They know that defensively they're going to have to do something special, and everyone is maybe giving it just a little bit of an extra effort. Great temptation, I would think, on the part of Joe Gibbs to be so conservative, knowing that defensively he should be able to handle what Pat Ryan and the offensive unit of the Eagles can put out.
2nd and 5. Here's Biner swinging to the outside, gets past Small, and then is run down by Allen at the 42. And it's very close to a first down.
Excellent decision by Ernest Biner. I mean, how often do you see a back who jumps to the outside and you say, well, the thing to do there is turn your shoulders and get back inside. A good decision that time by Ernest Biner, sensing he could get around the corner. Now Jimmy Johnson, their number 88 to the left of your picture, is the tight end at the point of attack. He's working against Jesse Small, the linebacker. And he just grabs his jersey and holds it. Whoa, a blatant hold by Jimmy Johnson.
Maybe that was what Ernest Biner saw.
Well, it's certainly what gave Ernest Biner the corner. Jesse Small was in position to make that play, and Jimmy Johnson gets away with a gross hold.
You hardly ever get away with that out on the end like that. Right in front of the official.
For Philadelphia, it is just not going right in any shape, manner, or form.
1st and 10 at the 42. Gerald Riggs is now in the game as Biner gets a blow. Orr goes in motion. Riggs gets the ball and picks up about 5. Gerald scored 3 touchdowns last week at Cincinnati. Waters and White in on the tackle. Tomorrow night, start of a new season, a winning season for Hayden Fox. Mr. Craig T. Nelson as his great show coach debuts, along with Full House, Home Improvement, Roseanne, and Homefront, all part of the lineup tomorrow on ABC. Hayden Fox is looking for an unbeaten season this year at Minnesota State. 2nd and 5 at the 37-yard line.
Well, maybe you can do their games, Al.
You never know. The Pineapple Bowl. Rippon throws from Monk. Touchdown. There's a marker down at the 40, and it's coming back. It's coming back. It's against the Redskins.
And they matched Eric Allen again, man for man, this time with Art Monk.
I thought Allen was guilty of interference. To tell you the truth, I thought he grabbed Monk's jersey.
Well, that too, but he also took it into the end zone.
It was real close.
Holding, number 79, offense, 10 yards, second down.
Well, this is Jim Lachey again on the hold. Remember, he had a holding call on the interception by Byron Evans that got overruled, and then they enforced the hold, and now he gets called again. A great player, Jim Lachey at left tackle, but not having the best of nights here. There he is at the top, and he goes for the cut on Clyde Simmons, and quite frankly, I didn't see where he held him. There's Eric Allen. He gets a hand on the jersey, but quite frankly, it looked like about the same time the ball got there. That was a good non-call.
2nd and 16. Biner takes it to the 46. Here's another look now at Lachey, and then the catch.
Well, Lachey right now has got to be saying to himself, well, I sure didn't think I held him. I thought I got a clean cut. Again, let's take a look at it. There's Lachey at the top of the screen. He gets inside on Simmons and goes for the cut. He didn't grab him.
And I don't think you can call this one downfield. As Eric Allen gets his arm on the hand on the jersey just as the ball gets in. Well, I'll tell you, if you see that in regular speed, it'd be tough to call it.
Yeah, I agree, Frank. I mean, we showed it in super slow-mo, and he did get the hand on there early, but at regular speed, that was a good play by Allen.
3rd and 15. And this is Ricky Irvins, the rookie, over the middle, picking up the first down. Ricky Irvins, who the Redskins hope will develop into a latter-day Kelvin Bryant. They'll use him in that role, as they did with Bryant for many years, and had huge success, and that's exactly why he was in the game.
5'7", 200-pounder. He was a 1,300-yard rusher as a junior at USC, and also led the team in receiving that year. So he fits into sort of the Dave Megan type of role also, Al, working out of the backfield.
Working against Byron Evans right there, and Evans goes for the shot and goes right over the top of him.
Easy to do. He's 5'7".
That's where 5'7" is a big plus.
First down to the 23-yard line. Biner. Taking it to the 21. Jerome Brown makes the stop.
First time Ricky Irvins carried the football against Detroit. He went 37 yards on the final drive for a touchdown, and there he is, one long line of tailbacks out of USC. Steve Hurt came up with some amazing numbers over 66,000 yards or something that USC backs have generated.
Yeah, you got about half of them, didn't you?
I didn't have that in mind. I'm talking OJ and Allen.
Oh, you helped out, though. 2nd down and 9 at the 22-yard line. Here's the catch made at the 20-yard line by Ron Middleton. He gets to the 19. 3rd down upcoming with 5.5 remaining.
Good play by
third
Hopkins.
quarter.
Here,
Get
Frank,
back in that one-man screen.
here, Kenny Wolf's going to bring up a graphic. Why don't you take this one? You take this.
Well, that's about what I mentioned a moment ago. There's 67,000 yards. If you could divide that by 5,280 quickly down there, Steve would know how many miles that is.
It's 15,000 yards above number 2, Penn State. Great tradition of running the football at Southern Cal.
3rd and 5 at the 18. Rippon goes for 6, but Clark is there out of bounds. Had his man beat, but couldn't stay in.
Rippon just delivered that a little too late. Clark indeed he had his man beat, and Rippon held on to it too long before he let it go. Andre Waters locked up with in a total mismatch.
No, I think it might have been Eric Allen.
You're right, Allen once again.
Yeah, Waters comes in there from the side and waves it off, but Gary Clark put a move on Eric Allen that was a shocker. Spun him around.
35-yard attempt for Lohmiller, whose stupendous season continues.
What a roll he is on.
And the Redskins as well. 4:38 left in the third. 13-0 Redskins. Eric Allen, their club down 13-0 as Lohmiller kicks off. Rod Harris from the 2-yard line takes it up to the 13-yard line. Tackle made by Stephen Hobbs again. That drive, 8:32, and it was elongated by that 4th down penalty when Golick came across. That enabled the Skins to get into position to add 3 more on Lohmiller's 35-yarder. 4:30 remaining in the third. President Abe Lincoln, the Lincoln Memorial.
Dan was sitting on those steps today.
Yeah, I think it's the prettiest view in Washington. Back up, looking at the reflecting pools, back up towards the Washington Monument. To the left when you walk in there is the Gettysburg Address. To the right is his 2nd inauguration speech. And if you have never been to the city of Washington, D.C., you should be here. And there's our old booth mate from last year, the Vice President of the United States, Dan Quayle.
Looking on, along with the full house at RFK. Eagles have the ball at their own 14-yard line. Keith Sherman goes nowhere. And that running game for Philadelphia is still non-existent. Danny Copeland makes the hit. That running game is non-existent, and offensively, well, take a look at this Eagles story tonight. Punt, 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 interception, punt, interception. Yuck.
Those interceptions make the punts look pretty good.
And if you weren't with us earlier, Jim McMahon went out with a knee injury early on, and Pat Ryan, who has not worked very much with the Eagles at all, and was only signed September the 13th after being out for a full year as the quarterback. Might explain some of those numbers.
2nd and 9, and Marcus Cook says he was drawn off. There is no play here. What an interception by Green. It'll make a few highlight films, but it doesn't mean a thing.
When you're hot, you're hot.
Marcus Cook was all the way across the ball.
False start, 73 offense. 5 yards, 2nd down.
Ron Heller, but let's take a look at that Green play again.
31 years old, he still has fun doing it.
Yeah, we can look at offsides anytime. Check that out. Check that out.
Yeah, they timed him in the 40, and he was in the 4.3s again this year, and he won for the 4th time the NFL's fastest man contest. Remarkable athlete.
But can he do that left-handed? That's what I want.
I bet he can. I wouldn't bet against it.
I mean, that didn't show me anything.
Nothing. 2nd and 14 from the 10. Ryan hits Byers, but he is tackled immediately by Mayu, and a flag is down in the backfield at the 2.
Did you see what Antone Davis did to Charles Mann? I mean, we're dealing with a major league mugging. We've seen some pretty good holds tonight. Antone Davis, the big rookie right tackle.
Well, they might have got him too.
Oh yeah, they threw the flag on it. I'm sure they did. He just spun this guy all the way around. Antone is having a tough night.
Holding, number 78, offense. Half the distance, 2nd down.
There's Charles Mann. Look at the left.
It's so frustrating for the young rookie, 1st-round draft pick out of Tennessee.
Is that number 3 tonight on Davis? I think that might be his 3rd penalty this evening.
Mann might be the toughest man he could handle that he's seen thus far this year, because Mann is big at 6'6", 270 pounds, but he's such a good athlete. And we've seen him go inside, spin inside. We've seen him physically overwhelm Davis, and we've seen him beat him around the corner.
That's a hat trick you don't want. 2nd and 19 from the 5. Ryan avoids a sack that would have been a safety, and then throws, and there are only white shirts in the neighborhood, and there's another Redskin hurt, and that is Tim Johnson, who is shaken up.
He's not even on the field to play. He was all the way out of the back of the end zone. Charles Mann, again, this time I think just went over the top of Antone Davis. Almost got the sack in the end zone. Boy, this guy is going to overtime here now. Antone, it'll get better. You're a rookie, and it's going to take a while.
And I think Tim Johnson's going to have to come out of the game. And the Redskins mighty thin in the defensive front line.
Well, Stokes was hurt, but he is back. Cook's been hurt. Johnson is now out.
Jumpy Gathers is in the ball game.
And Bobby Wilson, their top draft choice, the rookie out of Michigan State, comes in as well.
What we talked about earlier about the Redskins playing great defensive ball thus far. They're fourth in the league, but they're very thin. They can ill afford to lose anybody.
Third and 19. A little shovel back to Heath Sherman, and that's a 10-yard pickup, but considerably short of the first down. They're forced to kick again. Jumpy Gethers makes the tackle, and the clock is down to 3 minutes left in the third. Well, the Skins trying to stay unbeaten, and next week the Buffalo Bills will attempt to remain unbeaten as they take their high-powered act into Kansas City. Kansas City, here we come next Monday. Bills Chiefs. Jeff Fiegels kicking with Brian Mitchell back to get it. It's a short kick, a spinner that goes out of bounds near the 40-yard line. They'll march it off.
That was ugly.
He's still going.
37 from the 15, so that's a 22-yard punt, or about half of what you'd love to average.
Nothing works tonight for Richie Kotite.
Nope. They go to Tampa Bay, do the Eagles next week. Meanwhile, the Redskins in a big one next week go to Soldier Field to take on the Bears.
And after Tampa Bay for Philadelphia, you've got New Orleans, San Francisco, and the Giants coming up.
2:39 remaining in the third quarter. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf with you. Monday Night Football. The Redskins trying to go 5-0. If you joined us late again, McMahon hurt. They'll do an MRI on his knee tomorrow. The initial indication from the Eagles was that he would be out for, quote, a while. Ryan, who was, as we told you before, a construction contractor in Tennessee, and then they've got Gable backing him up. And I mean, where do you go from there? He'll be out maybe shopping for a quarterback again this week, and they don't grow them on any trees.
No, you can't go out and use your ready list to look for a backup quarterback the way the Eagles did in getting Pat Ryan, but to go out and get a starting quarterback, you forget it.
Adding that extra man too that you can keep, usually the quarterback that you can keep just in reserve, has kind of thinned out the ranks of the desirables.
As we speak, I am sure that Joe Woolley, the excellent director of player personnel from the Eagles, is mulling over in his mind his phone calls tomorrow morning.
If this was a year ago this time, Bobby Hebert's phone would have been ringing as he sat out all last year.
Again, a reminder, college football comes your way on Saturday. It begins at 3:30 Eastern and 12:30 Pacific. There are the games. You'll see one of them in your region. Syracuse, Florida State, Michigan, Iowa, Cal, UCLA, Wyoming, and Air Force. Russ Grimm is now the center. Jeff Bostic is out for Washington. First down at the 37-yard line, and Ernest Biner gets to the 35. Gain of 2. It'll be 2nd and 8 with 2:25 left in the third.
Biner looks like he's carrying that left arm a little funny, isn't he?
Got a little stinger going down to the fingers.
On 2nd and 9, Rippon flings one out to Biner. And Ernest gets tackled at the 26-yard line by Ben Smith, who tried to keep him from getting the first down, but his forward progress will probably have netted it, and it does. First down.
You know, who really has played a good football game tonight, only because we haven't heard the other guy's name, is Joe Jacoby. Reggie White has really not been a big part of this game defensively for the Eagles. Great look there at that completion to Biner, but Big Joe at right tackle has turned in maybe his best game of the year here going against that guy, Reggie White. Bruce Smith gets a lot of pub. It's a hot contest between those two. Who's number one?
From the 26-yard line, here's Biner.
Very timely look, too, at Joe Jacoby driving Reggie White off the line of scrimmage.
I walked up to this guy yesterday at the Eagle practice, and of course I guess I couldn't see it because I was too close. Kind of struck you guys how big he is, huh?
You disappeared, I can tell you that.
You look like Billy Bordy next to him.
One of the Munchkins? That is a colossal human being. And he's as good as he is big.
Started the season at left guard. And Simmons got hurt and they moved into right tackle.
2nd and 4 from the 20. Here's Biner's 25th carry of the night, and he's now picked up 84 yards. He is close to a first down on what will probably be the final play of the 3rd quarter.
And at this stage of the game, guys, at this part of the field, this is where I wouldn't be surprised to see Gerald Riggs come in and take over for Ernest Biner. They kind of take themselves out of the game whenever they're tired, and I wouldn't be surprised. Biner's seen enough work.
There is an injured Eagle as the 3rd quarter begins to wind down.
That's Reggie White.
The clock, and White's hurt with 13 seconds remaining in the period.
Well, this would be just about as bad as it gets for the Eagles. We can only hope that this is nothing serious to one of the game's true superstars.
Timeout on the field. Back in a minute. That's good news. You see Reggie White appears to be okay. They had stopped the clock for the injury. Now the clock winds down again, and we will have the official end of the period right here.
Keep in mind that graphic you saw on Reggie White. That includes Bruce Smith, and that includes Lawrence Taylor, two people you automatically associate as the most prolific pass rushers in the game.
The Iwo Jima Memorial. Meanwhile, the Skins are unscored on in 11 quarters here this year. Back with the 4th quarter after this from our ABC station. Yard and gets it as he reaches the 15 to keep the drive going, and then all kinds of flags. Wes Hopkins was in on the play. A great scene there. Byron Evans picks the flag up to put it back in the official's pocket like it doesn't exist.
Wes Hopkins comes flying in there late, and then as an old referee said, gave the guy the business.
Had his hand on the face mask of Biner.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Offense, offsetting fouls after the play. First down.
Well, Wes Hopkins comes in and really gets called for the late hit on Biner, and I'm not sure who they called for the personal foul on the Redskins' behalf.
Why?
Hard to tell.
Yeah.
Whatever. Doesn't mean much.
Who cares?
Who cares? First down at the 15-yard line as Biner takes it to the 14, and Seth Joyner makes the tackle. Numbers through 45 minutes about to appear on your screen. Time of possession at the bottom, 10 minutes in favor of the Redskins.
And the numbers on the left are about as meager as you can ever expect to see in a National Football League game. 70 total yards for the Eagles, who are in dire straits offensively. And there's a fumble, and the Eagles have it.
Yep, another break for Philadelphia, but can they capitalize on the 4th Washington turnover tonight?
Rippon lost that just pulling away from the center.
I think Jerome Brown is the guy that comes out of there with the football.
Sometimes a man across from you can be a little intimidating if you have a key block.
Well, remember they put
he's
Russ
quick like Jerome Brown.
Well, remember they put Russ Grimm in at center to replace Jeff Bostic. Let's watch the exchange.
Rippon was leaving the center, and he got it late.
Rippon was pulling out a little bit early. He had already pulled his hands away from the rear end of the center. It hit him partially on his upper hand and then just ends up on the ground. Jerome Brown got there first.
First down, Philadelphia at the 14-yard line. Ryan throws over the middle. The catch is made by Roy Green, and he pays the price at the 25.
Your wish, your mine.
You're right, Frank. That's what they tried to do to Roy Green, the former St. Louis Cardinal, Phoenix Cardinal. Traded to the Browns, didn't make it with Cleveland, and quite a find for the Eagles. Almost was a Redskin now.
He tried out with Washington. Joe Gibbs couldn't find room for him. I was going to say, how old is Roy Green?
All right,
Teammate of Dan's, Dobler, all those guys.
A gifted player.
Yep, you bet.
He's not that old.
Yes, he is.
First down from the 25, and it is intercepted. A great juggling act by Ray Collins, and he loses the ball, but a Redskin is there to fall on it as well. I think Danny Copeland alertly keeps possession for the Redskins.
Andre Collins, they moved him over to the weak side from last year's playing the strong side because he's so good against the pass. And you saw one of the reasons why he has superb hands.
Well, he's covering Byers there, and Keith Byers makes a break to the sideline, and Collins with that great speed just moves over in front rather easily to short this pass, and you see Byers just was able to get a left hand on it. He started it. Collins stays with it, and then he's going to set it loose.
He even switched the ball like a running back. Then he lost it.
And luckily Danny Copeland was there to get it. And, well, it's a fumble by Rippon, then an interception. And the Eagles are pretty much right where they, the Redskins rather, just right where they were to begin with.
So again, the Eagles can't capitalize. Ryan tonight has thrown the ball 13 times. He's completed 7. Unfortunately, of those 7, 3 have been to the Redskins. Bostic is back. First and goal at the 7-yard line. And Rippon tried to hit the eligible receiver, Russ Grimm.
And flags are everywhere.
Or was he eligible? Grimm occasionally lines up as an eligible receiver. The question is, was he on that play?
Or did he report? And they're calling offensive interference.
I'm sure he would report. That's a standard formation for the Skins, and he would do it each and every time he goes in there, whether they run or pass.
You'd like to think so.
Pass interference, offense, number 68. 10 yards, first down.
They just called him fighting his way to get open. You get an opportunity. You're an offensive lineman to be the primary receiver. You'll do anything to get out in the clear.
Yep.
Well, he did push off a little bit, but come on, that's not all that bad. He works against Byron Evans, the middle linebacker.
Big Russ there. Big Russ getting up for the ball. Demonstrating at least a 8 or 9 inch vertical leap there. It was pretty graceful going for the ball.
First and goal at the 17. There's Biner slipping a tackle and run out of bounds at the 2-yard line.
Oh, Biner making Eric Allen look bad. Breaks the tackle and gets about 7 or 8 yards more out of it. What an offensive machine. Ernest Biner.
Well, can you imagine how discouraging it must be to play defense knowing that it would take some sort of a miracle for your offensive team, not just to get points, but to get a couple first downs.
Just to keep it for a while.
Really.
And so when you leave the field, you tell your offensive team, go out there and hold them for a while.
At this stage of a ball game with 12 and a half minutes left is where you find out.
Second and goal. Biner takes it to the 1. It's going to be 3rd down and goal. Mike Pitts is there with 12:20 remaining in the 4th quarter. And Washington on top, 13-0.
I know what you're about to say there, Dan. You find out who the guys are they're going to play.
You're right.
No matter what the conditions.
I was going to use an old cliche, find out what you're made of, but this is really the time that becomes appropriate, because it's not easy to play right now if you're in a green jersey.
They're shattering. They lose Randall Cunningham opening day. McMahon comes off the bench, beats Green Bay for them. They come into the night 3-1, and they lose McMahon.
Riggs is in the game, 3rd and goal. Grimm is eligible as he sets up on the left side. Gerald Riggs.
Somebody got a head start there, guys.
That won't count. No play. No play. They celebrate prematurely.
I think whoever the left guard was started
63,
early.
offense before the play, before the snap. 5 yards, 3rd down.
Yeah, they got Raleigh McKenzie, the left guard.
So that's the 2nd Redskin touchdown that comes back because of a penalty.
Watch the interior there next to the center. Yeah, you can see him all the way across the ball before. So that's a dead play. Never happened. And Gerald Riggs had, what, 3 last week against Cincinnati?
In their victory over the Bengals by 7. Long split stop of the screen. Sanders goes in motion. Clark at the bottom on 3rd down, and they give it to Biner, and Biner is in for the touchdown. Good call.
Got a 3rd down, long yardage. Eagles thinking pass, bring the pass rush to go with the draw play.
Well, they bring the lineman all the way across. Here comes Lachey and McKenzie. Everything is collapsed at the point of attack. Ron Middleton, who is just as good a blocking tight end as there is in the league, collapses the line at the point of attack, and that's how you make a defensive unit look bad. Just awesome blocking by the front line unit of the Washington Redskins.
Got a very good call. Eagles easy to block on that particular play, on that call, when they're on the pass rush.
Oh, he hit the upright.
Yep, everything going right, though, for Washington. Lohmiller converts. And we have 11:21 left in the 4th at rockin' RFK. Skins trying to stay unbeaten. And on top, 20-0. Gone down inside the 5. This one as well. And Rod Harris brings it back out to the 11-yard line, and that's all.
Get the hang time on that out. He kicked it through the goal line. It was like a punt.
What was that?
All over Washington, they are toasting the Redskins.
Well, I think I'll go join them.
Pork industry lobbyists do on their night off.
The Hogettes. See, you don't see that at a baseball game, do you?
Occasionally. 1st and 10. Philadelphia from the 11. Ryan throws. Keith Jackson makes the catch, and he goes rumbling and stumbling out to the 30-yard line. A flag goes down back at the goal line. Millen and Copeland in on the tackle. And this one will be coming back.
Going to be holding against the Eagles, and Keith Jackson, who's all but disappeared from the Philadelphia offense, doesn't even get that catch to his credit now.
Holding, number 66. Offense, half the distance, 1st down.
That's Ron Solt, the right guard. I think he's working against Eric Williams, number 75.
Playing a little nick, too. He has a bad ankle.
Look at it.
You can almost see the way he sets up that the ankle is bothering him.
See, once the guy gets away to you to the inside, you can't keep a hold of his jersey up around his shoulder pads, but you can't blame Solt. If he lets him go, his quarterback gets killed.
1st and 16 after the call. Inside handoff to Heath Sherman. Stopped at the 8. Andre Collins. Update you in terms of what's happening in baseball with a week to go in the season. The Angels beat Toronto 2-1, and that is combined as Langston beats Jimmy Key in that one with Boston's win over Milwaukee. So the Sox now trail by 3.5 in the East. Update the West in a second here as Ryan gets tackled from behind by Charles Mann up at the 8-yard line. And in the only other race in the majors in the National West, Atlanta behind John Smoltz shuts out Cincinnati. At this minute, Atlanta's a half a game back, but the Dodgers can go back to a game ahead if they hold on. They're leading San Diego 4-0 in the 4th in L.A.
I don't think we had a chance to congratulate Minnesota.
Yep. Twins win. First time a team's gone from last to first since 1890. 3rd and 14 from the 8. And Ryan goes deep, and he had a man open. Fred Barnett had beaten his man, but the pass is too far. If he catches him in stride, Barnett goes all the way.
Easily. Great speed.
Stereo. All right, Fred.
Barnett again. Averaging 14.4 this year, but he averaged 20 yards a catch last year. Genuine superstar. Just, he's just maybe a little bit away from that major stardom, but he's going to need a quarterback to help him right now. He's in trouble with the Eagles.
Jeff Eagles kick, fair caught by Brian Mitchell at the 49-yard line. 43-yard boot. Redskins have it. Midfield, 9:21 remaining. Blood Spirit of Akron, captained tonight by Patrick Henry from Parsons, West Virginia, who said before the game, give me liberty or no clear air turbulence. Either one. He's got both. Nice shots, Patrick. From the 49-yard line, Washington, 1st and 10, 9:20 to play. Gerald Riggs is in the game. That is Mr. Riggs with the ball. And a first down. And a gain of about 22. Eric Allen runs him down.
Well, we all commented last year at the game in Philadelphia what a serious whipping the Eagles put on the Redskins. The Redskins paid the Eagles back with a 20-6 win in the wild card game of the playoffs, and they are now continuing to pay the Eagles back.
First and 10, Skins at the Eagle 29. Fumble. This time Rippon recovers himself.
I don't know what the problem is there between Rippon and Grimm. Russ Grimm has played some center before, but that's the second exchange that they put down on the ground. Big Russ, one of the great offensive linemen of the last decade.
You know, he could almost read his lips. I think he said, "My fault."
That ball went through the hands of Rippon. It might have come up a little high. You know, the quarterback wants that ball in the palm of his hand. That one looked like it might have come a little farther up the hand.
Again, though, too, Dan, he's trying to block Jerome Brown, so maybe just a little quick.
On 2nd and 13, here's Riggs. Oh. Takes a real shot from Hopkins. What Riggs wanted to do that time is stay in bounds and keep the clock going, and Hopkins made him pay a bit of a price. Well, I tell you what, for teams coming into D.C., it is like the old television series, Washington behind closed doors. Opponents nothing. Skins 99 after shutouts over Detroit and Phoenix in the first 2 games.
All right, Detroit without Barry Sanders, Phoenix without Tim Rosenbaugh, and Philadelphia without Randall Cunningham or Jim McMahon.
Detroit had 4 in 1934 as Rippon tries to add a few more, and no Redskin was in the neighborhood.
Well, I think Steve Hurd better get us a graphic, because that might have been the farthest away any given receiver could have been from where the ball landed.
I think it was Art Monk who decided that that Rippon would be able to read what he read, and that was double coverage, and he broke it off to the flat, and Rippon fired it into the end zone.
I would say conservatively, though, that ball touchdown 30 yards from anyone in a Redskins jersey.
Lohmiller a chance to continue his legend.
This is a 45-yard field goal. And finally something goes wrong for Lohmiller. Hits the upright, and he doesn't get the carom.
That's the second consecutive time he hit the right upright. He did it on an extra point. Bounced it through, and this one hit it flush.
Poor guy's losing it.
Yeah. This team obviously is in disarray.
Yeah, right.
In flux.
A gorgeous night in D.C. And it's been a great night for the capacity crowd at RFK Stadium. Their Redskins leading 20-0, and Brad Gable, a rookie out of Baylor, is the new Philadelphia quarterback. As Ryan is finished for the night, and Gable's first pro pass is incomplete, intended for Byers. Gable comes out of Baylor. He was hurt last year and recommended highly to the Philadelphia Eagles, and wasn't drafted. They went after him, though, right after the draft, signed him as a free agent. Begins the year number 3, and he did actually throw some passes in the Phoenix game where he was 6 for 8.
I think Richie Kotite has conceded this one, and he got Pat Ryan off the field, and it's going to be a lot of concentrated effort and work for Pat Ryan next week.
2nd and 10. Gable, flag down. Dumpy Geathers, for the moment, has a sack. And they'll probably get to keep it.
Illegal use of hands against the Eagles.
Illegal use of hands. Hands to the face. 78 offense. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
I don't even want to say who that's on.
How about a hint?
It's been tough enough.
That's why you get paid the big bucks, right?
He got some big bucks, #1 draft choice, and a high one at that. Anton Davis continues to learn.
3rd and 18. And the catch is made by Rod Harris, who pays the immediate price in the form of a tackle by Wilbur Marshall.
That time, even when they tried to help Davis with the back, Charles Mann on a roll tonight was still very close to the quarterback.
Fiegels to punt yet again.
Charles Mann worked himself into a few Pro Bowl votes tonight. Had a darn good game.
Low snap dug out by Fiegels. Kick goes out of bounds at the 39-yard line with 5 minutes and 57 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Mitchell and White, that's a bit of a mismatch, you might say.
Oh, and that's uncharacteristic for Reggie. He's, I think, as most everyone knows, a deeply religious man and an ordained minister, and one who rarely loses control out on the field, and agitated and unhappy about something Brian Mitchell did. But I think, by and large, guys, it's the situation that he finds his team in.
Yep.
This is just as bad a night as the Eagles could possibly encounter.
Maybe Brian didn't put enough on the plate yesterday. From the 39-yard line, 1st down, Redskins. Riggs. Gerald Riggs to the 29. 32-yard scamper.
And when they put Biner down and they bring on Riggs in the late going, and maybe the legs are a little tired. This guy is 240, and he now in his 10th year can still motor. Looks inside, pops it to the outside.
Great block out front there by Lachey. Comes off the line of scrimmage and takes care of Andre Waters, the strong safety who was there in the point of attack. Good hustle by Lachey.
1st down, Washington at the 30. 20-0 Redskins with 5 minutes to go. Riggs, 5 5-yard gain to the 25-yard line.
Riggs had over 60 yards rushing late last week against Cincinnati. 3 touchdowns. That was after Biner had done his damage early.
Well, the Eagles will have to regroup, make the trip to Tampa Bay. And then they have New Orleans at home, and then they get a bye on the 20th of October. They do an MRI on the knee of McMahon tomorrow. Cunningham, of course, is gone for the season. 2nd and 6. Riggs. And he's pushed back by Seth Joyner and others. 4 minutes to play. Pat Ryan, who started the season out of football.
You look at that bench now, and this team came in so up. We spent quite a bit of time with them last night, and they had a 3-1 record, their best start since 1981. And you look at it, and you know it's the second smash they've had. When they lost Cunningham was 1, and McMahon is number 2.
Look at this, since 1960, 31 years since the Skins have held an opponent to double figures, and Philadelphia right now with just 81 yards.
So the control of the Eagles taken away from one Ryan and now given to another.
Yes. 3rd and 6, and Rippon seeking the first down, and this will be close. And let's see where the forward progress is as the catch is made by Clark, hit by Smith, and it's enough for the first.
Not much you can do. A full blitz by the Eagles and a good read between Clark and Rippon to see that they were going to come, and Clark bringing it in on just a small slant, and Rippon putting the ball right there for first down yardage. And it tied Smith up, the cornerback, man for man with this man, Gary Clark. That's tough duty.
So the Redskins with a first down. Bud Carson, the Eagle defensive coordinator. Well, his group did about as well as you can expect tonight. The offense just did 0.
They've done exceptionally well. The Redskins have been averaging what? They're a little over 36 points a game, and right now they're sitting on 20. And this is with no offensive help on the part of the Eagles whatsoever to give the guys a break out there defensively.
And Washington's turned the ball over 4 times tonight.
Well, I think it's safe to say that if the Eagle offense would have played anywhere close to the way the Eagle defense has played, we'd have a heck of a game on our hands. The Eagle defense, I think, has played well enough to win.
Clock goes down to the 2-minute warning. Jim Kelly and the Buffalo Bills trying to go 6-0 on Monday Night Football next week, taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. We come up to the 2-minute warning here. It's 20-0 Redskins.
Man who for so long, I guess you could say, was in the shadow of Dexter Manley, the defensive end on the other side. And there's Fred Stokes, a guy who came in and started because Marcus Cook wasn't quite ready. And boy, the Redskin lines, offensive and defensive, have just dominated.
To go. Gerald Riggs takes it to the 14. It's going to be 3rd down and 5 at the 14-yard line with 1:52 remaining. And we can tell you the executive producer of ABC Sports is Jack O'Hara. Tonight's game,
tomorrow's game,
produced by Kenneth Ira Wolf. I mean, what's a producer these days without 3 names?
Harvard must be
Craig
proud.
Janoff, our director. Joey Chavor is our technical director. Ben Harvey, our AD. Emily Deutsch, Nancy Stern producing the halftime feature. First Fluger and Freddie King are assistants to the director. Bob Simon, Dennis Zabo, and Jim Licata. Tech manager Steve Hurd, our director of information. Mark Amento, computer stats. George Hill, the stats up in the booth, and Malibu Kelly Hayes, as always, our spotter. 3rd down, and they may have not run that play off before.
Game before the snap. Offense.
They did.
5 yards, 3rd down.
Al, we better credit Kirsten Anderson, our stage manager. Our coffee supply is going to dry up. And if I don't get my coffee and I find out it's your fault.
Well, we're a little short on Al's designer water as it is.
Yeah. Oh. We may have.
He was a little grumpy early on. If you wonder why, well,
Could this possibly be
the
retaliation?
designer water was not here.
No, you're not that petty.
Quantity.
No. Third down and 11 after the penalty. And here's Ricky Irvin. And the rookie breaks the tackle by Ben Smith and then fights his way down to the 10-yard line where Andre Waters makes the tackle.
And games in years to come, it's going to be tough to keep Ricky Irvin out of the football game. He can make things happen.
If he scores a touchdown here, is Charger going to come riding out onto the field with Frank on top of him?
Traveler.
Oh, Traveler.
And then George Tirebiter might even surface again. He's a dangerous dog we used to have on the bench out there.
Traveler, Charger.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
He hated.
What's the difference?
He hated Michigan.
I played in the Big Ten. I could care less who's on.
Yeah, your mailbox will be filled up this week.
You didn't like that horse, did you?
No, heck no, man.
You almost exhausted him against you.
Timeout, Washington, number 1.
They'll call a timeout to avoid what would have been a penalty, and they'll have Lohmiller come in and attempt a field goal with 13 seconds left. A field goal. Not that the Redskins want to pour it on, but what else are you supposed to do here? On fourth down, I suppose you could just do a kneel down or a running play or something, but hey, you played a game for 60 minutes.
Well, then he just missed a short one. Why not put him back out there? And, you know, kickers are kind of strange. You know, you had to work on the head a little bit. He hit the goalpost with his last attempt. Put him back out there and let him get a little feeling of confidence once again.
Let me tell you something about the guys in the green shirts. They are neither looking for, expecting, nor wanting any charity from the Washington Redskins. So I wouldn't be concerned about rubbing it on. Besides, keep in mind that as you work your way through some of the various tiebreakers at the end of an NFL season, one of them that you eventually come to, it's not up at the top, it's fourth or fifth down, but it's points scored against opponents in your division overall. So Joe Gibbs, I think, would have been foolhardy to just sit on the ball on fourth down and not tack on another 3.
Well, wherever he is, if he's looking on, Buddy Ryan has got to be proud of one thing tonight, and he loved the defensive side of the game. He collected quite a group of defensive football players, good athletes, and they have not shamed themselves at all tonight.
Lohmiller's kick. Harris gets a running start at the 3. Wrestled down with 4 ticks remaining. Stephen Hobbs, who's been in on seemingly every special teams tackle, is there again.
Yes, baby! So what do we have? We have Buffalo, we have New Orleans, and we have the Washington Redskins. The only 3 undefeated teams in the National Football League after 5 weeks.
And you've got Washington with a 2-game lead over Philadelphia, Dallas, and Phoenix, and they are 3 in front of the Super Bowl champion Giants.
Not a huge surprise on the Buffalo Bills part. Really not a huge surprise on the Redskins part. But New Orleans, how do you figure it? I mean, Jim Mora, I think, on his way to making a serious run at Coach of the Year with this operation.
This is the first time in 5 years there have been 3 undefeated teams this late into the season. Keith Sherman ends the game with about a 10-yard pickup. Jack Kent Cook's a happy man. So is Joe Gibbs. Very happy. I mean, you can hardly look any better than the Washington Redskins have looked in September. They are not happy to see the calendar flip to October, which happens, well, it just happened 3 minutes ago.
2 teams will meet again December, 22nd, down in Philadelphia.
3 games here against Detroit, against Phoenix, and against Philadelphia, 102 to nada. Final score, 23-0. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf. Talk to you next week from Kansas City. For now, good night from Washington.